many years ago, when I was still a student of jurisprudence at Bonn, precisely at the Internationales Institut, or even correctly, das Institut für Internationales Privatrecht und Rechtsvergleichung, translated to be something like this: the Institute of Private and International Law, or laws in plural. I used to work quite late at night, as I preferred the quietness of the library, when almost no other human being was there at the library. I had a key and I used it. And I used to return home quite late, traveling by the tram car, leaving Bonner Juridico and coming to a place called Bertha von Siebnerplatz, and travel further on. On that particular night, I disembarked the tramway car and remember, while crossing the street, meeting a very young man who asked me for a lighter. I sighed and said to him that I was a non-smoker, and he responded by saying, "Schade," translated to be a pity. I wanted to begin a conversation with him, knowing fully well that cigarette smoking was then and still is injurious to health. And I asked him why he wanted to endanger his health and his future life. This very young person looked quite sadly into my eyes and replied by saying, in German of course, and I'm translating, "What is the point of living?" A question which very deeply wounded my mind on that particular night and has not yet been healed. Young people are the future of our world. If they are properly guided, they are likely to become men and women not merely of great stature, but also of great fame, and indeed bearing great responsibilities, as we know this happened throughout the world. Since time immemorial, such incidents have been occurring. But my question to my own self was and remains, why young people should raise this question, like what is the point of living? They should know their future. They should know that they are important in our world. But this kind of teaching is not learned automatically. This has to be taught. As an educationist, I came across children who were learners, young people, the youths, and sometimes even those who were grown up, and I even had the opportunity of teaching a group of elderly people. But it is important for any educationist that he or she also pays attention to his or her pupil, or I should say, yes, I said pupil in singular, intentionally, because each and every single pupil of his or hers is decisively important, and it should be important in his or her life. The tragic incident taking place hardly 24 hours ago, even in a country like Serbia, where such incidents were not known of, according to certain news media. A 14-year-old young pupil going into a school, killing a teacher, 8 pupils, and a security guard. I begin to question what drives such young people to commit such violence. Perhaps I know the answer. Perhaps some people will agree with me. Perhaps others will not agree with me. But I do believe that too little time is spent to find out the problems which are often prevailing over the minds of young people. The state communities of the world, including the leading members of the United Nations organization, spend so much time, so much energy, so much money in order to impress the world. My question to them would be, and is, why so little is spent to tackle with young people to find out the problems which drive them to commit such violence offenses. I myself had the opportunity of visiting the school where the teaching of Bible was compulsory. And no doubt the sound doctrines found in the Holy Bible, both in the Old Testament, including the Torah, and the New Testament, guided my life considerably well, I should say. Today I know the value of life, not merely of my own life, but also the lives of my fellow global citizens. Also, I had the opportunity of learning such things from my parents, both of whom are already deceased. But during their lifetime, they tried to guide me, even when I became considerably old. When I returned to India, when I was a grown-up man. In their view, the value of human life, or human lives in plural, were unmatched, unique, and ought to have been valued, indeed respected by others. The crimes committed by young people in various countries of the world, often crimes committed by young people who get hold of guns, is nothing uncommon in today's world. Too frequently we see these incidents occurring in various Western countries, repeatedly in very developed, even countries which consider themselves as superpowers. Some 2 decades ago, I remember a young pupil killing at a school called Gymnasium in German, in Germany. In the United States of America, this has become quite a frequent, yet too tragic, not merely an incident, but frequent incidents, which I admit with all due shyness, all due regrets, all due fear. But I do not believe that merely the absence of moral teachings in schools which lead young people to commit such violence, their environment or their environmental situations, their surroundings are to be blamed equally. Film industries show too many films based upon violence. Violence against children, violence against youths, violence against even babies, violence against girls and boys, violence against women, in certain cases violence against men. I do blame, very, very sadly, upon my part, also the modern film industries, which are likely to bear the blame, at least to a large extent, for corrupting young people to commit such violence. I mentioned this earlier on a number of occasions, and I'm obliged to mention it even at this very moment, referring to a number of films like Exorcist, which drove people crazy. If a film could drive people crazy, to be afraid, to become mental patients, why should a film which shows violence of various types, various categories, various incidents and instances be different? A question I ask my own self, and with all due respect, I put this question, or I should say I place this question upon the minds of my fellow global citizens. It is our duty to come forward. We need to find alternatives for the young generation. More money should be spent on them than on so-called fabulous and no doubt impressive incidents taking place in their countries, in our countries, in our world, and no doubt in the world of our youths, the children, the babies. More people should be trained to deal with young people. Those young people need attention, not punishment, but true guidance. We need to deal with them gently, questioning them gently, finding out what goes on upon their minds. We need to speak to them. We need to listen to them. We need to respond to their calls. We need to encourage them. We need to discourage anything that is likely to raise fears upon their minds. A gentle atmosphere is likely to guide those young people to their better future and to the future of the whole world, even our world. They're young, they're tender, yet the world is also theirs. I thank all of you who have been kind enough to watch this live telecasting of mine. or care to watch the video recording of the same at their convenience. While I beg you once again, most humbly, as I did on earlier occasions, to come forward and to act. The young people, the youths, the children, the little boys and girls, the babies need us as much as we need them. They need our world as much as the world needs them. These facts cannot be disputed, cannot be denied. This is my genuine belief. This is my personal conviction. And may this be the conviction of all of my fellow global citizens. This is my prayer. This is my petition. This is my errand of this particular night. Yes, hardly 48 to 52 hours ago I appeared live, appreciating the greeting sent to me on my birthday. But the joy of my birthday has totally been marred by the news of today, of this young boy killing 8 of other fellow pupils, perhaps of his own, a teacher and a security guard. I bid you all a solemn night from my country, India.